Let's stay on the issue of health because it's very important. If you didn't know already, today marks World Tuberculosis Day. It's a day to raise public awareness about the devastating health, social, and economic consequences of the disease. Now, the focus on the coronavirus progress to end tuberculosis is at a risk. For more, I'm now joined by a global health policy expert and managing director of the High Latin Group, Mario Ottiglio, joins me now from Geneva. Mario, good to have you on the show. You know, what's interesting here is that tuberculosis is one of the oldest diseases known to man, yet it's not often that we see it in the headlines. What do you think the impact of this disease has been? Because we don't really know much about it.
Yes, thank you for having me, and good morning. So I will looking at the impact. I will start with some numbers. In 2019, a person died of TB every 22 seconds, and we have globally 2 billion people infected with TB, and this remains the biggest infectious disease killers in many countries. It's a disease that really impacts profoundly the quality of life. Stigma remains a big consequence. Often it drives people out of the employment. We have a stats like $1 billion in wages is lost every year because of this condition. And you know why we don't hear about this? I mean, there's been lack of prioritization, lack of funding. You know, this is a disease that can strike anyone, but disproportionately affects marginalized and vulnerable population that often had no voice. You know, in refugee camps, in slums, in prisons. So I will say lack of attention is part of that, but things are changing a little bit, probably also because of the COVID and the focus on health.
Mario, I mean, I think you just said a very important word, COVID. I mean, you know, when we're talking about the situation of the global health, you cannot avoid talking about COVID. I'm wondering if you could sort of put into correlation, if there is any, the relationship between tuberculosis and COVID.
Well, yes, first of all, of course, COVID has been and still is overwhelming for health systems, especially in regions where resources are quite scarce. Because of the pandemic, a lot of countries were forced to redirect attention, resources, health workers away from TB, from malaria, from other challenges that they usually deal with. What's more for TB is that depending on the diagnosis, people may need to receive treatment for months or even for years, including often kind of traveling to the hospitals for getting treated. So, you add basically the classic issues around TB. We discussed about stigma, but then add the fear of infection, the reduced mobility. These things are really slowing down adherence and not to mention case finding, which is another big thing. Look, there are some numbers, again, I want to share with you. There is data that has been shared recently. Basically, in about 10 countries with a high burden of TB, there was a 6 to 41% decrease in treatment enrollment. Now, just to be clear, 20% drop would alone put back the community like in 2008. So invalidating, basically 15 years of progress. I let you imagine what 40% kind of decrease in treatment enrollment means for this community. So yeah, COVID has had an impact, and definitely, it should be a priority now for countries to kind of manage the two.
Yeah, and this is a fascinating topic, and it's important that we talk about all this. We're going to have to leave it there. Mario Ottiglio, thank you very much for joining us. If you want more information on this, go online, research it, because it certainly needs more attention.